So I'm here today with a realtor and good friend of mine, Alan Fetter. And recently when Alan and I were talking, he mentioned to me that there's a lot of questions that he gets primarily from first-time buyers, but also other buyers as well, that are related to lending. And he said, I'd really like to come in and shoot something and kind of put it out there to the world and say, here's some common answers to questions that people often come up with.
Cool.
So fire away.
I will. Dave, thanks for having me. So one of the questions that I get from folks is folks that are currently renting, they aren't sure at what point they should consider buying a property.
Okay.
So what would you say to that?
I would say that, first of all, start off by getting a pre-approval. Come in, let's meet, and let's talk through it and see, because for everybody, it's going to be a little bit different.
Okay.
But rents in the Madison area, from what I've seen, are so high. I mean, it's not uncommon to see rents well north of $1,200 for an apartment, and that could be going towards a mortgage. Also, we can evaluate numbers and look at it and say, even if you spent $1,500 on homeownership versus $1,200 on renting, as an example, you're still going to end up ahead in the homeownership piece, simply because you can write off the interest that you paid. You can write off mortgage insurance currently if you're paying mortgage insurance, and you can write off the property taxes. So by the time you deduct all of that,
right,
you actually, even though your monthly might be going up slightly, you would be paying less overall when you take into account the tax benefits.
Right. See, that's perfect. Like, a lot of people don't know that stuff, and that's great that we can give them that information. If they've made that decision, they're like, okay, yep, I definitely want to buy a house. When would you think the best time for them is to meet with you or get in touch with you?
The answer that I'm consistently going to give is always do it as early as you can. Like, I'll have people come in and say, I don't know if I'm gonna be ready for like a year. I would still argue, pull credit, let's go through the process, let's gather your documentation. The reason for that is, I can probably put you in a considerably better position that even if you're not ready to buy now, let's look at the credit together. Let's come up with a plan and say, you know what, if you can pay this off, you could get a little bit more home when you are ready to buy. And for me, it's never going to be a matter of I'm forcing you to try to buy a home quicker than you're ready to buy a home. I'm trying to prepare you for when that time is right, so that we make sure that we have you in a great position when you're ready to buy.
Right. So like consulting, pretty much, you're trying to help them through a complete financial situation, not just say, oh, we're going to get you into your house.
Absolutely.
You mentioned pulling credit, and I do get this question sometimes, or people call me and they're like, that lender or they're talking about pulling my credit. What does that mean, and how does that affect people? Because they get a little nervous when they hear that.
And that makes good sense. I mean, I do like that people try to protect their credit, and are particular about people pulling it, because I think they should be. If we have a conversation and they decide that we're a company they want to move forward with, I would encourage them to have their credit pulled. We will do what's called a hard pull, which means we pull all three of the credit bureaus, and that will have a couple point credit hit to your credit score. But anytime that you get serious about getting a loan for a home, you will have to have your credit pulled.
Right.
So, and again,
those couple points probably not going to make or break the deal typically.
For most people, hopefully those points are insignificant.
Okay, good.
But it does give us the real baseline of what we need to talk about. That is going to be a big piece of the puzzle. So I think it is critical that credit does get pulled.
Okay. Let's see, another question that I get from folks is they hear pre-qualify and they hear pre-approval. So what's the difference? Is there a difference? And what would you tell people?
That's a great question. I will tell you that our definition of it is a pre-qualify would be if somebody kind of did an online application, we pulled in credit, but we don't have any of the supporting documentation. We can kind of look at it and go at first glance, things look pretty solid. A pre-approval, which means we're going to issue a letter when you go to write an offer on a house, so that the seller knows and the seller's real estate agent knows that you're qualified and you've met with a lender. We're going to pull the credit in. We're going to pull all of your documentation. So we'll have you bring W-2s, pay stubs, bank statements, show us where the down payment's coming from, show us that you're employed, show us that your income matches up with what we needed to match up with to qualify for the home. So pre-approval is quite a bit further down the road than a pre-qualify. As far as you're pretty serious about it at that point.
That you just took the words out of my mouth. Serious is what I got from that. You know, a pre-qualify just sounds like a quick, like, let's just take a quick glance and take a look at it.
Yeah, we're never going to put somebody out there in a position that they're only pre-qualified when they're going out to buy a home. We're always going to go through the documentation and evaluate every single program that they qualify for, so we can present them with a lot of options.
Right, like you said earlier, you want to give them, put them in a position of success.
Absolutely.
So that's good. Well, I guess one other question or topic that comes to mind when I think of lending and I think of sending folks your way, we get a lot of first-time home buyers that are thinking about it. They're out there looking. This is a little more open-ended, but do you have any advice for them or any words of wisdom that you could give them?
Absolutely. I would say go through the process. You're going to want to make sure you hire a great real estate agent, somebody like Alan. You're also going to want to pick a lender and go through the process of, here's exactly how much I make, here's my whole picture, here's my whole financial picture. And that's for a lot of reasons. I mean, you want to make sure that you're not looking at homes in the wrong neighborhood. If you're looking at a $300,000 home and you qualify for $200,000,
Yep.
well, that's going to make your search quite a bit less enjoyable if you've spent time looking at 300 and now
Right.
you qualify for 200.
Yeah.
Pretty significantly different. So we just want to really put you in a great position to succeed. So I would say, go through the process, make sure you lay everything out, you have credit pulled, and set yourself up for success.
Yeah, there could be a little bit of a letdown for folks if they're looking up in that 300 range, and then we come in as a team and we kind of go, oh, well, now you got to look down here. We'd rather not put them in that position.
The flip side of that happens sometimes too, though. We look through payments and realize that, you actually can comfortably afford a little bit more than you even anticipated you could.
Right.
So that's conversations we want to have as well.
Cool. Well, that's all I've got. Thanks so much for answering those questions. I think it'll be helpful for folks out there that are considering buying and maybe selling and moving up into a new house.
Thank you, Alan. Enjoyed it,
All right.
bud.
Thanks.